Today I'm here to show you what we call a cleft graft. Grafting, the reason we do it is because there might be one particular tree or plant that shows favor, you would rather have some characteristics that you want to obtain and keep. So like most people usually graft fruit because there's like an apple, might be one really delicious apple you like and you want to replicate it. Well, to replicate it, usually you bud it or you graft it, or bud graft, cleft graft, whip graft. But today we're just going to show you the cleft graft, which I think is easier than budding. We have a lot of good success. Today we're grafting on a loblolly pine, and the reason we're doing this in our orchard is so that we can replicate some of the families that show disease resistance, show straightness qualities that we like for our saw timber purposes, and also low forking. We don't want a whole lot of forking in something that you want timber out of. But grafting works in basically any tree. It's been done for centuries. They even mention it in the book of Romans in chapter 10. So it's been going on for a long time, and it works very well to clone or replicate some particular tree or plant that you desire. So anyway, I'll get started. Right here it's a pretty tree, real kind of bushy. But what I'm looking for, why I call it pretty, is because it gives me one long central leader right here. And basically what we'll do is cut this back, and where I actually put the material, the cutting I took off the desired tree, and we will insert it into the top, cutting the rest of the rootstock back, giving dominance to your actual graft. And then essentially the graft will take off, and it will start to needle out and have its own buds, and it will take over the plant. This will just be the root stock in itself for the actual graft. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of what we call scion material, which is usually we try to match it up with the exact same size diameter, and that's very good on this tree. It matches up fairly well, and usually we'd never want the scion larger than the rootstock leader itself. There's usually some issues and complications later on in grafting. So what we'll do is I'll stick this back in the cooler, keep it nice and moist, and I'll take my pruners. I'll keep everything in alcohol to keep it sanitized. This is sort of medical, so you want to be very sanitary. I cut back anything that may get in the way. Needles. The top bud, remember, this will be the new sprout for this tree, so we're getting rid of it because this is just our rootstock. I will peel back the needles, getting them out of the way. We want this to be a clean operating surface. So next, I will place my pruners back in alcohol, take my piece of scion material. This is my grafting knife. It's actually one-sided blade because when you make your first pass, you do not want it to dig into the sign wood. So I will start with a knife, and for right-handed people, you would start right behind the bud and pull towards you. Well, since I'm left-handed and they do not make a left-handed grafting knife, and this you shouldn't do because you don't want any material touching your skin, or any open material be touching your skin or your jeans. But since I'm left-handed, it gets a little complicated. So what I do is I start right up under the bud. The bud is what's actually going to be the growth for the tree, so we don't want to damage it. We'll take the knife, very thin, run it down with one pass. Multiple passes usually are not good because it opens up little lesions inside the wood, which makes it gives you a lesser chance of survival. We'll go to the opposite side and take the equal amount of wood off, leaving Usually 2 inches is about preferably, but this is a little over 1 inch, which will do. I've had plenty to take, even less than this. So basically, you don't want to keep your skin, no contamination, right here on the actual inner wood itself. Right here, there's a little green line, and it is called your cambium layer. That's the part you actually want to match up inside this inside your rootstock. And what I'll do, since I have that, I'll measure it, because you want to split open your wood, but you don't want to split it up too much. So I will take it. What I have here, and I'm leaving this wood out in the air way too long, but for this video purposes, I have a clothespin, and that will help me hold the wood. When I slide it in, I will match up them green cambium layers the best I can, because that's actually, if it don't match up, then it will not take. Take my clothespin and squeeze them together to hold it, making sure, I check multiple times to make sure that the cambium layers line up. Right here, we just call them grafting rubbers, grafting tape. I will start right below my split and wrap without twisting. You do not want to overlap it, double flap it, because it will actually girdle. So one continuous wrap, and when I take the clothespin off, I will realign my cambium layer, because it has a tendency to move a little bit. That's what the grafting rubber does. It acts as a brace to hold everything in place. It also holds in moisture, which is needed for it not to dry out and die. Take it, after you have it wrapped, I take and tie off my rubber band. Then I have pieces of parafilm that I've cut, and this is almost like wax paper. It's not quite wax though. It's actually a breathable plastic, but it does hold in moisture. But it does allow gases to leave out from under the graft. But you use it. I go below the rubber, the grafting rubber, and wrap it just like I did the grafting tape, sealing up any open meat. Sealing that very tightly. It's nice. This parafilm is pretty nice. It stretches with you. You can use it really well. The reason I have not gone all the way up, which you can, is because I've already took candy wax. I think, what is this called? There's certain types of grafting waxes out there that you can actually melt in a pot, and I dip the sign material in to keep the moisture into the bud. Because remember, if we lose moisture, we lose the plant. It will die. So the whole point, the whole reasoning for sealing this all up is to keep the moisture in and allow it to have plenty of time to actually adhere to the rootstock. And I will tag it and show where I made the graft and keep up with it. And after in a few weeks, and I come back, and it usually a couple weeks after I come back, and I realize that it has taken off, the rootstock will actually try to compete with your material. So you have to keep this cut back until it can sustain enough foliage and crown to actually support its own rootstock. So then you can actually cut the rootstock back, and yeah, and there you have it. It is that's a cleft graft. There's many types of grafts, but that is an easy one. And signing out.